Welcome to the 2024 ACT Disc Golf Championships presented by Choices Flooring. We're here in beautiful sunny Canberra and we're on the blue intermediate layout ready for 21 cracking holes of disc golf. On to hole number 1, it's a par 5. You've got a big booming tee shot available to the bigger arms here. And then as much distance as you can get will be an advantage for the second shot. Set yourself up because the third shot requires you to push it into this mouth here and get nice and tucked in there for the birdie. Hole number 2 is a very challenging par 3. You're looking at about 100 meters uphill. Throw something that can continue straight through this gap and get all the way up to this elevated pin. You'll need to bring your A game. Hole 3 is our first risk-reward 2-shot swing style hole. It's an 84-meter island par 3 where shots that miss the island will most likely advance to a drop zone. From the drop zone, bogey is just about best case. Hole 4, we're looking at another par 3. Just got a bogey, here's your chance to get it right on back. 77 meters downhill, you can approach it from left or right. Just miss this last tree, give yourself a putt, and see if you can cash in a birdie on this one. On to hole number 5, it's a par 4, very challenging hole. You can either go to the left of the tree here on the left side of the gap, or go straight through the gap. You want to puncture the gap and get as much distance as you can towards the road, but without bringing it into play. Once you get up to about this range, we're looking at a spike forehand for a right-hand player or a backhand for a left-hand player into this rocky green. The basket perched atop these rocks, one of Canberra's signature holes. On to hole 6, a Western Park Gold Classic. You're looking at a high right hyzer or a lefty hyzer, or up the middle gap. It's your choice. The basket is precipitously placed on a slight rise, so land short and run the putt and you could risk taking a bogey. On to hole number 7, a challenging par 3, 95 meters uphill left to right. If you're a forehand righty player, this one could be for you, or bring out something that's slightly flippy and push it up here onto the back edge of this ridge. The basket is elevated and it is a very sketchy putt. Hole 8 is our second par 5 on the front 9. The best drives will be getting all the way up here past all of this open space and land in the mouth near the previous basket location on your left. Then get through this gap and get into the open to set yourself up for the birdie approach. The basket is precipitously perched right next to the water. If it gets windy, and it frequently does, this becomes very much about touch and putting. Hole 9, ignore the cyclists and the footpath on the left. You do not want to be going across that OB. Throw something that will go from left to right and get yourself up here on the dance floor. It is 110 meters. This is no easy birdie. Hole 10, we have a 67 meter par 3. Take the right or the left gap around this tree and get yourself up here for a putt. This one will be commonly birdied. I think you will be trying to throw something stable and on hyzer to minimize the impact of the wind. Hole 11 is a par 4. The best shots will be going flat through this gap so that they can get as much distance as possible up to the low canopy here in front of us. Ideally, you give yourself as much ceiling to work with as possible and make this approach nice and simple. On this line, you'll be throwing right to left, bringing something in with hyzer and getting it to settle nice and close to this basket. Try to keep away from the road as it does play OB. On to hole number 12. It's a 70 meter par 3. You'll be looking to throw something that can get through this somewhat low ceiling, land on the ground about 15 from the basket and slide your way on up there. There is a left to right approach as well if you choose to go with the forehand or the lefty backhand. On to hole number 13. This is another Western Park Golds hole. It is 80 meters directly at the water. It's a low ceiling off the tee, and the basket continues to fall away on the hillside. Throw it too hard, however, and you do risk throwing it into the water. Hole 14, par 4, 167. This is another Western Park Golds hole. You'll be throwing something as a righty backhand player that gets either underneath this branch as the drone flies or above it and lands you in this ideal landing zone right here. From there, it is a left to right approach that requires some touch, because if you throw it too hard, you'll go into these bollards behind the basket and have almost no look at the putt. On to hole 15. It is a par 4, 150 meters. Navigate this somewhat tricky tee shot, get over this crest as far as you can and down the hill. The bollards on the right do not play as OB, but the water sure does. However, you'll find yourself in some thick rough if you're not careful. If you can get to this ideal landing zone here, you set yourself up to approach this somewhat tricky tunnel down towards the basket. The water on the right will play as out of bounds, and you can be sure many more shots are wasted trying to avoid the water as well. Hole number 16. This is a nice little low ceiling tricky par 3, very tightly guarded on the from the tee about midway up the fairway, and then you have quite the technical approach. You want something that slides up on the pine needles on the left and gives you a good look at this basket. Here we go. It's a par 4. You'll be needing to throw something as best as you can, either to the left of where the drone is flying now or straight through this gap to maximize distance. Don't play right of the big tree, as it is a mando to the left. Once you're through the gap and in this ideal landing zone, you'll give yourself a chance to approach the basket. Be careful for the footpath behind, as it does play as out of bounds. Hole 18 is an extremely challenging par 3. You're looking at 100 meters up this hill and then over the crest. I would be shocked if this one plays under par for the weekend. Once you get past this tree on the left, you'll need to push even further down the hill, and there's the basket tucked in here on the right. Make sure you get all the way down there for a putt. Hole 19 is a par 4, 140 meters. You can either take the tunnel on the right or choose to swing it out from left to right. Once you can get past all of these trees here in the initial column, you'll find yourself hopefully around where the drone is now. That will give you either the hyzer approach, or if you get enough distance, you can get in the left gap as well. The drone is taking us down the right. Swing it round here towards the left past this big tree, and you'll find yourself at the pin. Hole number 20. What's that? You're enjoying yourself? You're coming to the end of the round? Well, guess what? Hole 20 is here to take your lunch money. The first shot is critical. Land yourself in a position to approach the rest of the hole. That placement is around just here. From there, you'll be looking to get as much distance as you can while remaining in the fairway. That's about 100 or so meters straight up here to around the landing zone we are passing now. If you're able to get to this spot unharmed, don't worry, you've still got a challenging 85-meter approach. It will be windy. There are obstacles such as the big group of trees on the left or a couple trees on the right to avoid, and this would be a fantastic birdie. Onto hole number 21, where your round will be made or broken. We've got a risk-reward 100-meter par 3 here. The clearly marked area that we're flying over right now is a hazard river. If you do not clear it, you're looking at bogey at best. If you do, it is a very challenging birdie.